was a huge weekend for major milestones as the Burton US Open of Snowboarding celebrated its 30th birthday in Vermont. That's super old. And the big party was at the halfpipe as Shaun White dropped in to challenge rivals iPod and Louis Vito, while Alana Height tried to take that prime podium position away from the unstoppable Kelly Clark.
Pat,
yeah?
Take legendary Daytona Speedway. Add a track designed by Ricky Carmichael.
Yeah.
Sprinkle in some good old-fashioned torrential rain. Okay. Toss in a bunch of riders dying to take down tour leader Ryan Villopoto. And what you get is one sick, muddy AMA Supercross battle.
That's how we like it. The world's top snowboarders and free skiers head to the Alps for the upcoming Winter X Games in France and the latest headlines from Inside News.
Well, it all starts right now. You're inside Ally Sports.
I don't think that necessarily surprises anybody that Shaun White showed up and won here today.
Yeah, you guys have been unreal. Thank you.
Here we go. A win at Daytona on the line. Villopoto's problems continue. He cannot get on the bike and then face plants right into the Daytona mud.
The messages in this movie have more value than just the progression of skateboarding. There's a lot of real life stuff that happens in between it all.
This is Inside Ally Sports. I'm Pat Parnell.
And I'm not Angela's son.
No.
And if you think I am, you should click down there in the corner of your screen to expand your window to full screen. Or get some new contacts because these are not Angela, these are Todd's.
Well put, Todd. All right. The world's top snowboarders arrived at Stratton Mountain in Vermont for the 30th year of the Burton US Open of Snowboarding, and the big question, whether or not three-time US Open winner Shaun White would make an appearance, was answered in force, was it not?
It was, and he came out like an exclamation point.
Opening salvo at the top, signature method air, so high.
It's a 20-foot method, folks.
Followed that up, of course, with a massive frontside double cork 1080, cab double cork, frontside inverted 540 sailfish, backside double McTwist, and the one that I love the most, alley-oop backside rodeo for a 90.44. Louis Vito came the closest to catching White, scoring an 89.38 on a run that included a double crippler. Double cork backside rodeo. Frontside double cork 1080. Cab double cork. And of course, the frontside inverted 1080. And there were two surprises in the halfpipe that no one saw coming. Of course, was 7th place finish of Louis Vito's big Swiss rival, Yuri Polachikov. And the second was Vermont local Benji Farrow, who finished on a Burton Global Open podium for the first time in his career with a run that included a frontside 1080, cab 1080, frontside 1260, and a backside 900. The result left an American sweep of the top three, with White in first, followed by Louis Vito and local boy Benji Farrow. Looking ahead to Winter X Games, Louis Vito tweeted, "Now time for some Euro X Games action in France. Last one of the year."
The women's side of the pipe, well, it was packed with its own share of surprises. Gretchen Bleiler was forced to watch from the sidelines after a practice injury, leaving fellow Americans Alana Height and Ellery Hollingsworth the job of trying to dethrone Kelly Clark's relentless domination of women's pipe. Kelly Clark came out strong in her first run and took an early lead with an 83.56. But Height fired right back hard in her second run, launching a method air on her first hit before heading into a frontside 720 Japan air. Then into a cab 7. Back-to-back 900s. And a stylish alley-oop backside rodeo on her final hit.
Backside rodeo, what a run!
Firing up the fans and taking the lead away from Kelly Clark. An undaunted Kelly Clark tried to regain her lead but crashed on her frontside 1080 in run number 2 and was unable to topple Height's 86.5 score in run number 3. Like the men, it was an all-American finish with Alana Height in first, Clark in a rare second, and Ellery Hollingsworth rounding out the trio.
All right, now in women's slopestyle, American Jamie Anderson held onto her streak with a run that earned her a 90.10, over 10 points ahead of Norwegian Kjersti Boas and Finnish rider Annie Rukavari. Anderson completes the 2012 Burton Global Open Series undefeated. Not bad.
Yeah. Well, for the guys side of things, Sebastian Touton out of Canada also defeated his rivals by a wide margin. His 92-point run put him far ahead of second-place finishers Ulrich Banicher of Norway and Belgian rider Seppi Smits.
All right, before the X Games, before Shaun White, and way before it was ever considered an Olympic sport, Paul Graves and a tight group of snowboarders gathered in 1982 at Suicide 6 in Vermont, turned over a kitchen table to use as a starting gate, and created the world's first national snowboarding championships, and crowned Doug Burton as their first winner. You were there, Todd, right? Like
that was just like a year before my time.
No. First year at US Open, what was it for you as a competitor?
1989.
Highlight of all the years you've been at the US Open.
For me, you know, I won the US Open twice, and the first time that I won the US Open was probably one of my biggest highlights in the sport, just because it was such a big thing for an East Coaster like myself to go to the US Open and see all my heroes and to actually win it. And that was the contest that if you asked me, what contest do you want to win? That was the one. This is at a time where there was no Olympics, there was no X Games. The US Open was the pinnacle contest to win.
Okay, and let's permission to get negative. Low point at all the US Opens. There's been a lot, right?
Woo. Some of those contests, you know, you'd come out and just the temperature would go from the practice day was 55 degrees out, beautiful sunshine. The next day, it's hailing or sleeting, it's below zero, and the pipe is just,
as you like to say, magic shell poured over the snow.
It turns into magic shell. And I mean, that's Vermont though, and that's why the riders that come out of the East are some of the best in the world.
And when you think back to some of the earlier US Opens where they had things like slalom and there was that crossover, it was a pretty interesting time, right? Where you had like racers and half-pipe.
I used to do everything.
Yeah.
You would have to. I would do slalom, I would do the downhill. The downhill was super scary, especially on a freestyle board, because we just wanted to ride freestyle, but you would do everything. It was just part of the deal. And it was crazy to see what those guys were going fast on back in the day. I mean, it's a wonder no one get really worked.
Last question, and permission to be honest here, your best geek out moment. Obviously when you go to US Open, you run into a lot of your heroes. What's your biggest geek out moment?
Biggest geek out moment was in 1989. First time I ever competed in the US Open, and all my heroes that came out from the West Coast, and it was right when I got on Sims. I was like a regional rider for Sims in the East Coast. Chris Roach, Mike Rankwick, Craig Kelly, Duckboy Wallace, myself, and Rob Morrow, all in the Stratton gondola. I was just like, I couldn't even speak. It was like, I didn't think these people were real, and I was just like, oh, you are real.
Chris Roach.
And Rankwick was like, don't touch me.
Right, 30 years of history at US Open. Favorite 5 moments?
Favorite 5 moments. I will say in 1988 when they had a half-pipe there for the first time and Terry Kidwell won. I will say when they moved the half-pipe from the lodge side over to Sun Bowl, that was a big deal for us. The cage with Pat Bridges, when the dangling tiger cage that is just a debacle. Okay. The addition of the Big Air when that was going down. 4, Danny Cass's dominance for a record 5 wins. And probably the number 5 one, unknown 14-year-old Kazuhiro Kokubo comes in and just blows doors a couple years ago.
Up against Ross Powers, I remember the year. That was 6, but we'll let you slide.
The 6,
yeah. Okay, all right. Following the US Open in Vermont, the best riders once again jump on a plane and fly to the French Alps for the Winter X Games in Europe. Over 150 of the men and women top snowboarders and pre-skiers will gather at Teams Resort in France to participate in 8 different competitions, including slopestyle, snowmobile, the winner of the Real Snow competition, and of course, Superpipe.
And this will be a Superpipe extravaganza, because I know Kelly Clark's not going to want to take second place on the podium twice in a row. No way, Jose. Plus, the one and only Shaun White is going to be in his element, following up his US Open win. And on top of that, it's only March, and he's also got a Breckenridge Duke Tour win and Winter X Games gold, and he's only got 1/100. So I'm sure he wants to stack another win in there.
Another perfect score.
Yeah,
it wouldn't hurt. This is a Superpipe competition that's going to keep everybody, including myself, pressed against their TV screens all week. And we'll have all the highlights and results right here next time on Inside Alley Sports. Coming up, the AMA Supercross riders slug it out through the muck and the mud of Daytona.
He cannot get on the bike and then face plants right into the Daytona mud.
And we'll talk to the king of Supercross, the Mac, Jeremy McGrath.
Daytona was a muddy mess. Obviously, you guys saw that on TV.
Stick around, really, because I gotta go and to sit in traffic.
All right, special guest host Todd Richards. Have fun on the 405.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye. Thanks for stopping by. Drive safe.
I I don't know anything that even comes close to this contest.
The Red Bull Signature Series continues with Cold Rush, March 24th on NBC.
Welcome back, everyone, to Inside Ally Sports. Expectations and enthusiasm were high going into the AMA Supercross stop in Daytona at the International Speedway in Florida. First, you had a course designed by Supercross vet and 5-time Daytona champion Ricky Carmichael. Second, you had riders pumped up to topple tour leader Ryan Villopoto. What everyone wasn't counting on was rain. Rain, then more rain, resulting in a competition that looked more like a massive mud bath than a Supercross race. Villopoto had a strong start, but an uncharacteristic error had him crashing on the first corner, sending him to the back of the pack.
Villopoto gets caught out and has all kinds of problems. And down he goes. He cannot get on the bike and then face plants right into the Daytona mud.
On the third lap, Bubba Stewart surged past Davey Millsaps and, perhaps channeling Villopoto, held on and extended the lead all the way to the finish.
Here he comes to take them a checkered flag in Monster Energy AMA Supercross competition. James Stewart wins it for the Joe Gibbs Toyota Yamaha team.
Bubba tweeted, "Just getting home, crazy track, but amazing night. Man, I'm so pumped to get a win, but especially for my team, sponsors, and fans. Thank you." Stewart's second win of the season had him over 7 seconds ahead of number 2, Millsaps, with Kevin Windham in third. Series leader Villopoto slogged through the mud after his crash to make an amazing comeback through the pack, ending up in 5th place. Current standings, however, tell a different story, with Ryan Villopoto maintaining a 29-point lead, followed by Ryan Dungey, whose broken collarbone kept him out of Daytona, and Bubba Stewart gaining new ground in third. Jeremy McGrath is probably one of the most influential riders in the history of Supercross. His 102 career wins include 7 AMA Supercross championships, earning his well-deserved nickname, the King of Supercross. We got his thoughts about this season, the injuries, and his prediction on whether or not anybody will be able to catch Ryan Villopoto.
McGrath retakes the lead. Villopoto face plants.
Daytona was a muddy mess. Obviously, you guys saw that on TV. The conditions are, when they're like that, they're super, super treacherous.
Watch him right here through this wet section. See, he tries to keep the front wheel up once again.
My very first 250 East Coast race back in the day was at Daytona like that, and I just pulled off the track. Yeah, I wasn't feeling it for those guys. I'm sure they weren't very happy about being out there.
James Stewart, here he comes to take them a checkered flag.
James Stewart's certainly one of the best riders we've ever seen ride a motorcycle.
And here goes Stewart. Here he comes, drag racing, ball to ball with his teammate.
But some years he's just spot on a lot of races and only has a couple crashes, and then like this year he's had a crash just about every race.
Down goes Stewart just like that.
Funny thing is, no one can predict what James is going to do, and I'm not sure he can predict it himself either.
Has it begun? As James Stewart charged towards a battle for the title. Ryan Dungey looking for his second win of 2012. He's done it!
Ryan Dungey's done phenomenal all year long. What a courageous ride he had last week, because I know he had a shoulder problem, but it turns out it could have been collarbone. I mean, he almost won. He caught up to Ryan towards the end of the race. He just rode a great race, and if he was doing that with a broken collarbone, I mean, God, what a stud. So it's a bummer to see him out. You know, there's a lot of guys out this year, so I think he's going to stay up in the points for a while. If he can get that thing plated and be back out there in a couple weeks, I think he'll still have a good shot at finishing in the top 3.
He's able to take the deep. Oh! It goes right over the bars! Oh, man!
A lot of guys sitting on the sidelines. It opens the door for new guys to get a shot, get up there, get some confidence. Jake Weimer was really strong in the beginning of the year. With Kevin Windham getting some momentum.
I think Kevin Windham is going to make a run at Dungey. I think he wants that podium tonight.
I think he's going to mentally be a little bit better, in a better space for the rest of the series.
Still love watching this guy ride. He's so precise.
Yeah, Millsaps rode great.
It's not
Daytona, that was pretty neat to see.
Davey Millsaps puts the Joe Gibbs squad out front.
One thing for sure is it's good for us fans to watch. Typically a guy like Ryan Villopoto, who's winning the series and has a cushion like he has right now, if he doesn't do anything really stupid, he'll win the Supercross title. But James is entirely capable of winning some races, and it's just unfortunate maybe at this point he's a little bit too far back, and with Dungey getting hurt, he was the next closest guy. So Ryan Villopoto can pick and choose his battles as he wants from here on out probably, but he can't really race by looking in the mirror too much. Well, I think the key to being successful in the Supercross series and Motocross series is being able to make racing and training and everything your priority, believing in yourself and having the right program. It took him a few years to get his program dialed in, but now it's like with his bike, his team, his trainer, his fitness, and his confidence, pretty hard package to crack, you know?
Thanks a lot, Jeremy. Rain won't be a problem at the next stop on the AMA Supercross Tour, held at the indoor Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis, where we'll see if Bubba Stewart can repeat his win from Daytona. And when we come back, we'll break down all the latest inside news, take a look at the results from Red Bull Cold Rush, and catch some lightning as we preview the new Danny Way movie. Stick around. Welcome back, everyone, to Inside Ally Sports. I'm Pat Parnell, and new to the team, Alex Curry. Welcome.
Thank you, Pat. Hey, guys. Here is the breakdown of the latest in sports with Inside News.
The free skiing community is still reeling from the death of Canadian skier Nick Zoricic, who died on March 10th during a ski cross event at the World Cup Finals in Switzerland. Zoricic succumbed to head injuries incurred when he crashed directly into the nets that lined the course after going wide over the final jump. The 29-year-old Zoricic, competing in his 36th ski cross event, was the second Canadian skier lost in 2 months, following Sarah Berg's tragic death during a halfpipe training accident in Park City, Utah.
Two-time Winter X Games Europe champion free skier Kevin Rolland from France tore his left ACL during training in Maribel and will be unable to defend his title in the Superpipe at Teens. He is still waiting surgery to fix the tear, the second of his career. And it's expected that Rolland will not only miss X Games, but the remainder of the season.
Many of the world's top pro surfers are gathering on Meriwether Beach in Newcastle, Australia for the Surfest Burton Toyota Pro and the Hunter Ports Women's Classic. For the men, expect Taj Burrows to make a strong showing, hot off his win at the Quicksilver Pro. Of course, to be challenged again by Joel Parkinson. On the women's side, expect an all-star lineup, including world champion Carissa Moore, Roxy Pro runner-up Laura Enever, and Australian Open champion Sally Fitzgibbons, all vying for the top prize in this 6-star event. We'll have all the results of Surfest next time on Inside Ally Sports.
The South by Southwest Film Conference and Festival in Austin, Texas was the site of the premiere for Danny Way's new feature-length documentary, Waiting for Lightning. Director Jacob Rosenberg wanted to break the mold of what was expected in a typical skate movie and focus on the extraordinary achievements and unique personal vision of Danny Way himself.
I think, the story I was really wanting to convey through this movie is the bigger picture about life. The messages in this movie have more value than just the progression of skateboarding. Skateboarding's awesome. It's a great thing that brings a lot of us together. It's a fun pastime. It's a great way to exercise and be creative and all that stuff. But there's a lot of real life stuff that happens in between it all. The message in the film was, to showcase a lot of those life challenges that have happened along the way. If I can touch people through this movie and have them not affected by what I'm doing on my skateboard, but affected by the morals in these challenges in the story, I think, I think that's the goal we've had with this movie from the get-go.
This is unbelievable to see Danny coming back.
One of the world's foremost backcountry free skiing competitions came to a close with Dane Tudor and Rachel Burks emerging as winners of Red Bull Cold Rush. Held deep in Colorado's San Juan Range at Silverton Mountain, the event brought together some of the best backcountry skiers from all over the world. Judges watched 90 minutes of mind-boggling video from the week's runs, which were pared down after avalanches forced the cancellation of the Cliffs competition. Tudor excelled in the big mountain event with high-speed technical runs, including a double drop off the cliffs, a versatile run on the unique slopestyle course, landing a smooth 720 into a large switch cork 540 off the biggest jump. Rounding out the results for the men, Pep Fugis and Sage Catabriga-Losa took the second and third spots. And for the women, Jackie Passo and Michelle Parker followed behind Rachel Burks on the podium. Another show is in the books. Thanks for checking us out again on Inside Ally Sports, your base camp for action sports. Keep up with all the latest news and events by following us on Twitter at Ally Sports, or give us your take. This is important by tweeting hashtag Inside Ally Sports.
Very important. Also as important to make sure you subscribe to Ally Sports Network and check out all the shows on Ally Sports channel right here on YouTube.
But mainly this show.
Mainly this show.
Okay.
Always this show. I'm Alex Curry.
Yes, you are. And I'm Pat Parnell for Inside Ally Sports. We'll see you next time. See if you can climb out of here. It's right there. It's right here.